Time for Sean McDonough, brought to you by Catches Law Group, New England's injury pros. Set up your free injury consultation at catcheslaw.com. And he joins us this morning on the Harbor One hotline. Hey, Sean.
Hello, Greg. How are you this morning?
Fantastic. Nice to see you Monday night.
Yes, it's always great to see you. I hope you're doing well.
I hope, I don't know if word got to you or not, but I asked to buy your dinner. I don't know if did they mention that or sometimes
no, it also didn't happen. So
sometimes there's confusion.
But we'll give you credit for the attempt.
Okay. You've been doing college football for a long time. I wanted to ask you about the ratings when it comes to that University of Colorado game over the weekend. And it is so interesting to me what Coach Prime is doing for college football.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, the rating was through the roof, historically good. You know, and it was a late game, and it wasn't a marquee opponent. I mean, it's a rivalry game. If you live in Colorado, you're probably interested in it. But, you know, you wouldn't think nationally it had a lot of juice, particularly, but it certainly did. I mean, we were on right before it. We had the Pitt-West Virginia game. I got back to the hotel, and I watched the second half of it, and you know, it looked like they were going to lose. You know, they're having a magical start to the year. I think we'll learn a lot more about them this weekend, though. They go to Oregon, which is one of the best teams in the country, and I think there's something like a 20-point underdog, so it doesn't look like the odds makers are believers yet in the Colorado Buffaloes and Coach Prime, but if they were to win this week, I think that would change all of that for sure.
Sean, when you look at the whole, just the kind of the college football landscape, and you kind of look at what Deion is doing there, do you think this is just a stepping stone for him to a major Power 5 school, or is this something that you think he might just want to stay there and see if he can build Colorado up to be one of those major Power 5s, even though I know they're going to be going to the Big 12?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. It's already being asked a lot and written about a lot. You know, I would assume he thinks he could do it there. First of all, you know, I would think he'd be grateful for the opportunity they gave him, and he certainly earned an opportunity like that with what he did at Jackson State. And you know, why can't you do it there? You know, I don't know. It's not a state where you have a lot of prospects, a lot of top players in the state of Colorado who would naturally want to come to the state university, so maybe that's part of it. But you know, I don't know. I don't know if he likes it there, doesn't like it there. You know, I would think he likes it there based on the way it started. But he will definitely be a candidate for other jobs that come up based on the success he's having and you know, everything that comes with it. You know, all the attention that he brings.
Sean, switching gears to the Red Sox, you're obviously very close to that organization. Were you surprised by the Chaim Bloom news, and are you hearing any whispers of a replacement?
I wasn't surprised it happened. I was a little bit surprised by the timing, you know, that it kind of seemed to come out of the blue, and it was, you know, while the season was still going on. But, you know, if you're going to do it, I suppose there's no good time, and you might as well get started on looking for his replacement. I have not heard anything about who that is. You know, I think there are a lot of great candidates out there, some of whom have connections. I read the article that Pete Abraham had yesterday or the day before about Eddie Romero, and I definitely think he's somebody who should be considered. He's a guy who's been in the organization a long time, is very well respected, very smart guy, good guy. You know, but there are a lot of people out there. You know, you've read the names, I've read the names, and I think most of the names you read make sense as candidates. So, you know, I think they'll be able to get somebody good. It's an appealing job. Obviously, it's one of the best in the sport. And, you know, I personally think I would love to see Mike Hazen come back if they could do that. You know, he was here. He's been the general manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks now for several years, and I think he's a really talented guy and a good guy. You know, is obviously familiar with the landscape, but I haven't heard his name mentioned very much. He might be happy where he is. I don't know.
Is Alex Cora the manager next year?
I think so. Yeah, it sounds like he wants to come back, and sounds like they want him to come back. So I would think so. What do you think?
You know, I think he is. I think that they made a commitment to him and waited out his Major League Baseball punishment, and I think they made a choice here between he and Chaim. So I think he ends up being back here. I think eventually, I think he wants to. I think he wants to move up to that level job.
Right.
But
Right. That's been mentioned before. I've not heard him say it, but he must be saying it to people because I think it's commonly known enough that he must be saying that.
Yeah. But I don't. Again, I think Chaim Bloom, and hopefully the next individual avoids this fate. But I mean, Chaim Bloom was doing. Don't you believe Chaim Bloom was doing John Henry's bidding when it came to the moves he made?
Well, you'd have to think, right? I mean, they've never really said, we want to follow the Tampa Bay model. I think everybody assumed that when they brought him here because that's where he came from, and the payroll did go down from when Chaim got here. So, I would assume so. I mean, I can't imagine he didn't trade Mookie Betts without ownership's involvement in that too. So, as much as I think a lot of us thought Chaim was doomed from the moment that happened, I would think ownership was a part of that decision. You couldn't make a big decision like that without getting their sign off on it. So I think that's true. I think they, I'd like to see them spend money. It's one thing to not keep Xander Bogaerts, and I kind of understood their rationale on that at his age and for the money that it got to. But go out and get somebody else, right? Don't have the plan B. It's going to be Kike Hernandez. There were a lot of, Trey Turner was out there, Dansby Swanson. There were plenty of good guys who could have come in and played shortstop really well. So that's the part of it that I guess bothered me is, you got to spend money in some places to fill your holes. And they haven't been doing that. They just go out and get these guys, especially when it comes to the pitchers. I mean, it's been an endless stream of guys who are kind of been let go by other teams, and you get here and hope that suddenly they're going to be better. That's not a plan that's going to work. So anyway, I hope there's obviously the prospects are on the way, but I do think, I don't know if they need to spend more money, but they definitely need to spend money on people who are going to be impactful players.
Sean, it's my belief that Henry was in town, saw the Red Sox-Yankees tickets going for $1, and realized that there wasn't this light at the end of the tunnel, so Chaim got the axe. How much of Henry's...
Well, I think that's probably true, too, right? I mean, if you're sitting there looking at, thousands of empty seats, and really you're playing the Yankees in a meaningless game or games in September, that's jarring, I think. And I agree with you, Chris. I mean, I'm sure that had to play a part in it. It would if I owned the team.
And what role do you think, whomever it is, whether it's Mike Hayes, and obviously it's not going to be Theo Epstein despite our dreams of that return, is this going to be an approach where it feels like with Chaim and Sam Kennedy that they each had separate goals. Sam needed to keep the team relevant and sell tickets and suites and all that, and Chaim was charged with rebuilding the farm system. Whoever is next, do you think there will be an added incentive to begin adding on the Major League roster from day one?
Well, I hope so, right? I think that's what all Red Sox fans hope for, and I think that was the biggest frustration that fans had with Chaim. It's wonderful that you're building up the farm system, but the more important thing is the play of the Major League team, and it just didn't look like there was enough progress at that level. And, I even with the development of some of these guys, I don't think the Red Sox are going to be significantly better next year if it's just, well, we hope these young guys continue to develop and get better. I don't know, if any of them individually or the several of them collectively are that impactful. So, yeah, they better improve the Major League team, whether it's by trades or free agency, or else I think, next year we're looking at a season similar to this one.
I don't know how many games you have left if you do on WEEI, but will you be doing the...
I have one.
Is it Barbie night on Friday over at Kenway?
I don't know anything about that, but no, Friday night I will be in the lovely hamlet of Clemson, South Carolina, getting ready for the Florida State Seminoles and the Clemson Tigers Saturday at noon on ESPN. No, on ABC. Excuse me, on ABC.
One of my favorite stadiums.
That'd be a good one.
Oh, it's awesome. It's one of my favorite places to go. It's not the easiest place to get to, but it's a great place to do a game. We were actually probably going to go to Eugene and do Coach Prime's game, but Thursday at night, I'm emceeing Ray Bork's ALS fundraiser in honor and memory of Pete Frady. So that's super important, and hope a lot of people will turn out for that. So it was hard to get to Eugene on Friday from here. Usually I travel to the game on Thursday during college football season. So heading to Clemson instead, which is still a great game and probably the game of the year in the ACC. Those are usually the two teams that are, especially Clemson for the last decade. It looks like they've fallen off a little bit, and Florida State is probably the favorite to win the conference now. But they looked a little iffy against our Boston College Eagles the other day, so who knows?
Sure did.
You can't go direct JetBlue from Logan to Eugene?
No. The worst part when I actually looked into it, Greg, was, because when you pick the game 6 days ahead, and ESPN and ABC, we do that because, we wanted to have the best games. They don't want to assign us to something a month ahead of time, and then it turns out that it's two teams having bad seasons. So, we usually only find out 6 days ahead of time. But, you're talking about these college towns where people are planning well in advance to go to the game. So it gets hard to get flights into those places, and certainly it's hard to get hotel rooms and that sort of thing. So my flight back from Eugene Sunday was going to be leave at 5 a.m., connect through Seattle, and get back here at 7:30 at night on Sunday. So
wheels up,
that would have
man.
been a fun travel day. So I'm happy that I don't have to do that.
Sean, wheels up. I mean, I feel like, doesn't ESPN have a connection when wheels up a private jet? They can't PJ you from
That's for the stars. It's not for us worker bees.
That's only for Herb Street and them.
No, we're middle. Yeah, it's for Mr. Herb Street. Well, they need to fly him around because he does game day. Like the other day, I think they were in Colorado, and then his game was in Florida later that night. So I mean, if he flies commercially, he's not getting there. So they need to send him around in a private jet. But the rest of us are almost always flying commercially.
And that's
where's your favorite place to do a college game?
Oh boy, there's
Athens.
a lot of them. Just about any place in the SEC is tremendous. Almost pretty much any of those schools. I miss the Big Ten. We don't have the Big Ten anymore at ESPN after having a partnership with them for 40 years or something. But Ohio State, Michigan, those places were great.
Yeah, Piscataway, Rutgers,
some
great
of the
spot.
stadiums are cool. Like the University of Washington, the stadium is right on the lake there. It's really a cool setting. Almost all of them are really good. I mean, there's some places that you don't want to go, that they're hard to get to and they're kind of dumpy towns. But thankfully, we don't get to those places very often. So it's one of the reasons I love college football. I mean, just like Courtney was saying, Clemson, the atmosphere there. You get into these towns on Thursday, and there's already people in the RVs in the parking lot, and the flags are flying, and there's a lot of energy in these towns. And you get there at game day, and the parking lots are full, and there's so much anticipation for the game. It's in parts of the country, college football. These people plan their whole fall around these things. So it's really why I like it. The color and pageantry and excitement. They only play 13 games, so they're all really meaningful. If you reasonably have a chance to win your conference or be a college football playoff team.
Well, we will be watching, and we will talk to you again next week. Sean McDonough, thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg. If I could just add one thing here at the end, condolences to the family of Buddy Stevens. He was a wonderful guy, and it's really sad what happened to him, and there's a lot of us who are thinking about him. Wonderful family, and may he rest in peace.
Sean, thank you.